Hey, what's going on? It's Rick here, and I'm going to show you a really interesting case for the brand new iPad Pro 12.9-inch 5th generation. It's by Logitech, and it's the Combo Touch. This one is interesting because it adds a lot of functionality to your iPad. We'll talk more about that in just a moment here. But as we take a look at the case packaging itself, it gives us a little bit of a rundown. So you're going to get a backlit keyboard on this, a click anywhere trackpad, which prior versions of this case, you could only click in the bottom half. It's got a full row of iPad OS shortcut keys, which to me is worth it all by itself. We'll get more into that in a minute. The keyboard is going to connect via the smart connector, not Bluetooth, and it has multi-viewing angles. Now it's going to run you about $229, which is still cheaper than Apple's Magic Keyboard offering at, I believe, $349. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get this case out of the box, and we'll get a look at it up close. Now, you will find a small instruction manual. It walks you through some of the features and how to install your iPad into the case. But here it is. And we'll pop the iPad in the case in just a moment. Notice that keyboard detaches magnetically. When it is detached, you cannot use it. Remember, this is not using Bluetooth. This is using the smart connector. So when you detach it, you cannot use the keyboard. There is the case itself, and you'll see a cutout there for this smart pencil, or the Apple Pencil, and we'll get to that in a minute. Let me go ahead and remove that little packaging, and you'll notice that was kind of holding in place a few things here, which includes our kickstand, which has multi-angles to it. And when you open up the kickstand, your iPad is still protected. Now, from a weight perspective, yeah, this is going to add some weight. Without the iPad in the case, it's 1 pound, 11.1 ounces by my scale. And again, this is not one you're going to want to go with if you're concerned about adding weight to your iPad. But let's go ahead and pop the iPad Pro into the case, and we'll get a closer look as to how everything is going to line up and function. And I find that everything really looks quite good in this case. You're going to get a good level of protection. You're going to find all of the cutouts at the bottom here for your speaker and everything else. There's the area with the magnet for your Apple Pencil. I'll attach the pencil shortly. You've got your volume buttons up along the top, your microphone cutouts, speakers, sleep awake power. Now, here's where it gets a bit interesting, and I want to hear from all of you because I don't know for sure here. This is my first iPad Pro. That's the connector for the keyboard, but behind it, I believe there's a third microphone that gets covered up. So I want to know what that does. Does it impact that microphone? When is it used? Let me know if you know in the comments down below. That could be a point of concern. The buttons are really responsive, as you see here. Sleep Awake works just fine, as do the volume buttons. Along the back, we've got some Logitech branding in the form of Logi. And then you saw the camera cutout. As we take a look at the positioning for your angles, it's pretty much infinite to a certain degree. You can move this in any position that you'd like to kind of lean it forward, lean it back, and it's going to hold its position quite well. It has some kind of a mechanism built in that holds its resistance even when you're tapping on it. So I like that quite a bit. Now, when you want to use the keyboard, you simply attach it. The very first time that you do this, it is going to ask you to install the Logitech Control app. This app will ensure that the keyboard has its latest firmware updates and all of that. Now notice, if I try to fold it back in book mode, it comes detached. So what you'd want to do is set it aside or attach it how I've just shown you there. And it does stay in place magnetically. Now, as I mentioned, this is the app. It'll allow you to stay up to date. It'll give you all of the firmware updates for the keyboard and make sure that everything works. Now, there is the trackpad, and again, this is the first time this trackpad is clickable everywhere. I find the keys to be very responsive, and there are the shortcut keys. I really wish this was on Apple's Magic Keyboard case. I love these shortcuts. It makes all the difference in the world, and all the gestures work as well. So then the argument can be made, well, then buy a computer if that's what you want. And yeah, you could do that, but the beauty of this case is you get the best of both worlds. So you can see those shortcut keys and why I love them so much, volume and brightness and all of that good stuff. Typing is very responsive, feels good as well. But like I said, you can use this like a computer or detach it, the keyboard that is, and use it more like an iPad. With the backlight, you can adjust this so you can step it up and down into multiple degrees of brightness or turn it off completely, which is a lot more than what Apple's Magic Keyboard case does. Now let's weigh it with the iPad on because, man, we are talking about 3 pounds, 3.3 ounces. So again, back to my point, this is going to add some weight. And if you take the keyboard off, then we're looking at about 2 pounds, 4.7 ounces. So it's all about protection and functionality, but the trade-off is you are going to add some weight to it. Now, here's one other thing I found interesting. This case can be a little bit difficult to open. There's no real lip here. It sits really flush. So while that looks good, it makes it hard to grasp a corner and open it up. So what I find you have to do is take the Apple Pencil off and then kind of open it up from there. Not a huge deal, but kind of an inconvenience. And then here's another look at the hinge where that keyboard is magnetically going to attach and detach. And it also covers up that third hole on the iPad. If you were wondering, it does hold its place quite well. So that magnet's going to hold the keyboard in there, and I'm kind of swinging it around and it never fell off. So, you know, if you're looking for some protection, you don't mind the added bulk and the added weight here, then I think this is a great way to go. It's more affordable than Apple's offering in the Magic Keyboard case. Again, I'm very curious to find out about that third hole on the, I believe it's the left-hand side of the iPad. And with that being covered up, does that create an issue? Let me know if you guys know in the comments down below. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe for even more content. Hit the bell notification to know when things go live. And I will be catching you soon. Take care.